everybody knows who's on whose. And it doesn't mean that people will still come and say, hey, I want to ask a question. The catch is going to be making sure you remind people about not having serial meetings.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Hi. Good to meet you, Tim.
So I don't think you were here last time visiting.
No, I was not. Thank you.
Replacing Jesse Berner.
Nobody can replace Jesse. How dare you? He laughed like, really? All right, are we ready, Jennifer? Yeah. All right, it is 1:36 and we are here for the forest update meeting. I know there were some people that wanted to come online, but per rule of Miss Jessie, your predecessor, we don't do community questions at this meeting. Your meeting is an update to the board alone, and then if people have questions, then they come to you guys outside of this meeting. Is that still your standard request?
Yes.
Okay, all right, with that, we'll turn it over to you. You can grab that microphone and stay seated if you want.
Test, does this work?
Yeah, it doesn't amplify.
Oh, it doesn't amplify in here?
And so
Okay.
this is Commissioner Domke. He was our newly seated commissioner as of yesterday, so he knows everything USFS related. So shoot like that.
Fantastic.
And
I look.
Commissioner Korn has been here. I think you guys already met.
Yeah, we met last time, so appreciate it. Thank you for inviting us again. Tim Gloon, Forest Supervisor, Idaho Panhandle National Forest. Nice to meet you in person finally. I primarily wanted to show up again today to introduce Ben Johnson. We discussed it last time. He's our new district ranger. Heather Fuller was acting, and so we transferred Ben from the St. Joe Ranger District up here to the Sandpoint Ranger District. So he is now officially in place, and he is your go-to guy for all things related to Forest Service locally.
Does he have the contact information to pass out, or are you too new to have cards?
Too new to have cards.
Okay.
I ordered them yesterday.
Hey, we're together on that.
Yeah,
Day two.
day two officially in, so
Not even a QR code or anything?
not even a QR code.
No QR codes.
And I
That's
think
the newest thing.
I know.
Please don't show this to Ann then, because I did say QR codes. I'll hear it. All right, sir.
I think overall, I think one of the things we talked about last time is understanding what might be a good frequency for the various levels of updates that you want to have. I think we talked about maybe monthly might be a bit much, but we could certainly entertain that. That district level update is the most appropriate, I think, at this level, and that covers both the Sandpoint District Ranger District as well as the Priest Lake Ranger District. We currently have an acting in place for the next couple of weeks, and it might shift until, I believe, February 10th. Chris Noyes, he's started officially, but he's on leave, has a new baby. So, but we anticipate him being up here in person starting in February. And so when the next meeting that aligns, we'll go ahead and bring him down and introduce him to you.
Could you please spell his last name?
I believe it is Noyes.
He's going to shoot us an email with all of their contact
Oh, perfect.
information.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get updated contact information for leadership changes here on the force. We've had quite a few. So for the Priest Lake stuff, I don't really have much to update. It's pretty quiet right now. I know that they're currently doing law enforcement training, the winter training, snowmobile, and various activities up there all week. I know there's a couple of large events coming up, the dog races up there, and but I think that's a little bit more. That's a little up further. Dog races, and then the old snowmobile, antique snowmobile, or whatever event. So two weekends in a row, a lot of activity that's going to occur up there on the forest. But for large projects, not a lot going on right now. Just continuing the planning process for all the existing long-term plans that we've got. None of them are really ripe for introduction or going over, but we can definitely see about scheduling something on your request at an appropriate time whenever you would like.
What do you guys think about doing maybe monthly in our like November, December, January, but moving to something less frequent? Because sometimes we just don't have stuff to say. We just get to say hi, doing it monthly. So I'm agreeable to some kind of change of your schedule so that it's meaningful, unless there's something that's happening that warrants you saying we should probably meet sooner. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, monthly is too soon for me, in my opinion. Every 2 months or quarterly, I would think would be much more productive for everyone involved.
And it allows our new people to get brought up to speed and then to be able to give substantial. What do you think about quarterly?
Yeah, I think quarterly is good, especially if we can communicate in advance just the topics that would be most beneficial to cover. One of the things that comes to mind that I know is going to be probably on a lot of the public's mind, is going to come up more often than it has in the past, or at least the recent past, is going to be fuel load, fire safety, things of that nature. And so being able to speak more directly with current data would be really helpful.
I think we can look at certainly doing quarterly updates. I think that's suitable for being able to have staff work for providing products or information or summary for you. And a lot of our planning cycle takes a lot longer. If there is a need for an ad hoc, like joining another monthly meeting for a specific topic, we can certainly see about doing that. I'm open to various frequencies. So I think that probably works out well for district staff, both here and over at Priest Lake, and also the frequency for forest level updates. Forest level updates, I would most likely, the projects that we're working on that are forest-wide, that are still going to impact or have some influence over Bonner County residents and concerns over what our operations are. Probably I would think maybe biannually for that. There's not a lot of movement often, but certainly if there's a standing meeting we know about and we have updates, we can certainly let you know.
And we can always reach out to our contacts and ask them specifics and still pull that in to a meeting without having it a full-on meeting, but still reaching out for, this is something the community keeps asking us and it's not in our wheelhouse. What am I supposed to say in this meeting?
Yeah, just having current data is very helpful. That would be appreciated.
Absolutely. And then again, as I mentioned previously, if there's outside of any, I'm not exactly sure what the exact open meeting laws you have for Bonner County, but if there's a need to have a closed executive session or just one-on-one leadership and you have some questions in preparation between public meetings, we can certainly, just let us know and we can definitely meet with you. So that's about all I have from sort of forest level updates and just kind of punting on Priest Lake introductions until Chris gets here. So I'll turn it over to Ben.
Actually, if I could just mention one more thing quickly, being new, if you have sort of a bullet list of topics that normally you could provide data on, it might be great for us to look at that to say, these are the things that are the most important, we believe, to our county community, so that we can try to ask you guys to really just focus your time and effort primarily on those topics and not have to go far afield and, so we can try to really focus your time and effort in a way that's the most impactful for this community. That would be my suggestion, and we might be able to help target that a little bit better. Because I do think, fuel load, forest health, obviously wildlife, things of that nature, the community is going to be, mostly from what I've been hearing, looking for updates and understanding on. Obviously, access is always on the top of the list as well. So, but off the top of my head, those are the topics that I know my constituents are usually looking for information on because it impacts their concerns and or their activities. So.
Yeah, forest priorities are, timber sales, fuel loading, forest health. We also recognize, what the local concerns are. Recreation across the forest is also a big deal, so I know that is a concern to a lot of Bonner County folks. Access issues we discussed, various other issues, but so we can definitely cover some common ones that we'll have that will be thematic. They're going to be on our constant rotation of our program of work and just what we do, and then we'll also make sure that we highlight any new smaller events or pushes and little lines of effort that we can bring forward and discuss.
I think there's opportunity to do kind of self-promotion of the quality work that gets done with our forest management, especially when something like what we're seeing in California occurs. People look to well, where are we in terms of risk and how do we mitigate it? Because some of these areas where these events occur, they don't agree with kind of thinning out their forests and they don't put some effort in that regard. So it is a question that you're hearing it in our meetings about, but look at California, look what's happening down there. But I think it's a good opportunity to tell the public, this is how we proactively manage our forests, and these are the benefits of the way in which we approach our forests, so that it can give a little bit of peace of mind, but also promote what it is that our state level and what we're doing here matters, so.
100%, and I think we talked about it last time, just Commissioner Domke, if you didn't, I think you had some internet issues or there some issues last time, but the preseason wildfire coordination meetings that we have, where we go through that ISAP process, we take a look at the various pods, potential operational delineations. And so we take a look at those areas, and absolutely, we want to have commissioners present when we host those meetings, and have members of the, certain elements and key stakeholders of the community to have those discussions before wildfire season approaches. So again, we will make sure that our FMOs reach out and district rangers reach out to make sure that you're included on those meetings. So that is definitely the avenue where we action that discussion that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys do any active fire prevention methods, such as larger fire breaks or things like that, or opening up these roads that are overgrown with a brush alder or whatever, to use that as a natural fire break?
So depending on what the project needs are and what the landscape requires, there are various projects that we have that we do try and build in either natural thinning over a larger area, larger openings, or reducing fuel loads within a given area, or we identify key areas where straight linear fuel break, or at least semi-linear fuel breaks are required. Usually those are going to be in conjunction with utility lines and utility corridors, major routes, other particular locations that we're gonna do that. In addition to balancing, we got to spread our resources out. Okay, we can do fuel breaks. At the same time, we do need to reduce those larger blocks of fuel loading within the community or within the landscape. So we can show what our program of work looks like currently for the next 5 years. The next couple of years are fairly well locked in, but we have been trying to engage with collaboratives and our various stakeholders, county commission as well, in terms of, are there other areas that we need to maybe respond to based on changing conditions on the ground and or concerns within local communities that we say, hey, maybe we need to shift some of our work over to this particular area. That's the process that we have, and so we want to continue doing that to make sure that we're responsive in treating the landscape.
So like at the next meeting, you guys will be able to present when and where these operations will be taking place the next few years? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks.
Could you share with me just a little bit with regard to what types of forest health assessments you guys typically conduct?
I am going to punt on that one. I am not the forest health assessment expert. Okay. So I could definitely have somebody from ecosystems or vegetation management come here and speak to that at a later time.
I'd appreciate that. Yeah, just better understanding, just are we dealing with decline of certain species or, tree species, wildlife species? Are we seeing anything concerning or any trends that we should be aware of that we can help make the community aware of that may, cross borders from federal lands into state and or private lands and things of that nature would be nice to understand as well.
I think there was, yes, we could definitely speak to some of those. I know, like offhand, there's some particular type of root disease that's hitting certain areas, and so we're having to deal with that and the impacts of that usually. Like for instance, I went to a site in Coeur d'Alene District where they had to bring in and do some mitigations for hazard trees because we had excess amount of root damage within this particular area, and so it presented a risk to residents and users of that particular recreation site. So, but that's just one small example. I can definitely see about staff coming back with more information.
I'd love to understand what kind of data points you guys are looking at, what type of assessments you're making.
Mm-hmm.
How
Absolutely.
we can disseminate that information to the public, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
How do you deal with the beetles?
The beetles?
Yeah.
We can definitely speak to that. From my knowledge, there's usually going to be a trap system where you would have a particular trap, a pheromone trap that attracts beetles to that particular area, and or you'll have the opposite where you'll have a thing where it's a exclusionary pheromone that it tries to push those beetles out. And beyond that, if you want to, the ologist is going to have to be the one that talks all that sciencey stuff.
Ologist has not gotten rid of beetles. 'Cause I was thinking, when you grabbed and you were starting talking, I was like, is he actually going to say an answer to this question? Because I have a beetle issue.
It seems to be growing. That's why I bring it up.
And the
More
stink
and more
bug. You
dead
guys have that
trees.
answer between the stink bug and the beetle?
Really? Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe they can add some more chemicals to those chemtrails when they fly over or something. I don't know.
He went there.
I'm not going to touch that one.
Just slide the microphone over. That was a mic drop moment.
What I would say to that on the Forest Health, we do have tools to be able to respond and go into very small targeted areas and treat those, and sort of also in addition to, when we do see that, we have the opportunity to go in and specifically really target and treat those areas so that issue doesn't expand further and further damage the area. So.
I think you were actually a proponent of chemtrails in that comment. You need a chemtrail to get rid of your beetle.
I flip-flop.
Okay, just checking.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Ben Johnson. This is my second day on the job, so I am drinking from the fire hose, learning everything I can about Sandpoint. But I'm coming from St. Mary's down at the St. Joe Ranger District, and I was there for about 20 months. So some of the projects I wanted to update today for you is on buckskin. So as you know, that is one of our projects that's under litigation, and I received an update today that it's still assigned to Judge Nye, and we're still pending a hearing date. So unfortunately, because we don't have that hearing date, we do not have a really good understanding of when we should anticipate that case being resolved. So with that, we do forecast some delays in our advertised timber sales. So we're looking at 7 sales associated with that project. With the first one, probably won't be advertised until first quarter of 26, kind of where we're looking now. And then we do have a notice of intent as well on some of our endangered species, and our biological opinion from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is expected to be back by 4 May of this year. So a little bit of progress, but not a whole lot. I also wanted to give an update on Sandpoint South. That's a new veg and fire project here. If you look, it's right here on the north side of the lake here. It's about 80,000 acres, and we just initiated that project with our interdisciplinary team. So we're looking at having our final proposed action by 1 February with our scoping document and public participation around 1 March. And then we'll have a scoping period from 7 March to 6 April with our draft environmental analysis about middle of May 14th. And then if everything goes as planned, we'll have another public comment period end of May, so May 21st to June 20th. With hopefully we'll get to a decision around November, end of November. And then last one for today is our Conixu OSV project. That is still, so that decision is paused based on 2 notice of intents that we received, one on our endangered species, the grizzly bear, lynx, and wolverine related. And then the other one was from a snowmobile user group contest because the area in which it's in with the caribou area. They're contesting no caribou present. So we have 2 NOIs, we're dealing with that. So with that, even though our implementation was supposed to begin this winter, is paused until next winter. So, but we're working through that. My staff, we're gonna plan on how we're gonna actually execute implementation, but for now, we're paused and we're just, we're kind of waiting on further guidance from Fish and Wildlife Service. So with that, that biological opinion is due back to us 30 April. So kind of in a holding pattern for the
All
moment.
right.
But
Anything else?
those are my top three right now, our top three projects. Again, still learning every day. So the next one I can give a rec update, and we'll provide that fire update as well. So.
The other thing, did you have in your notes from what Rob sent? Or I can touch on that. I mean, I think there was a question on like you're concerned about fuel, fuels, treatment work, and things like that. There's the Scattered Lands Project. That's with part of our shared stewardship program. And they're currently going through and planning where they're going to be doing burning within that area. Burn units, I think. And I don't know, did he give you acres and number of burns planned?
I do not have that information right now.
So, yeah, they don't have it finalized yet, but we can let you know what treatments are planned within that area. And that's really just helping, that's the Forest Service working with IDL in terms of helping out off forest where we can get treatments done and help private landowners, commercial industry landowner base treat their landscape to help also reduce fuel loading. So.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have for today.
Any other questions from the board?
Not today.
Matt, you wanted to show them for anything?
No, I
Do you want to do something about formalizing?
didn't want to.
Oh, this is their meeting, so this isn't for, they're just reporting to us, so. Yep. All right, well, if there's nothing further, it is 1:58 and we'll adjourn this meeting.
All right.
Okay. It's just, this is just administrative as well. This is their meeting, we just are all sitting here. So they'll change it on their own.
As they,
Yep.
gotcha.
Thank you. Oh, how you doing, Ron?
Good. Good seeing you again.
Absolutely. So,
Ron, are you okay with that?
Yeah, as far as who's going
The
where.
department, and then we'll work out what the definition of that and what it looks like, but you're okay with that? And you're okay with it?
Yes.
So then I'll respond to Elisa and then she can send it out.
Yeah, I think we should just try to follow up with a definition.
Yes.
Some of the department has asked.
And then the frequency in which people should be making time cooking.
Makes sense. What? You must actually do something after you commit?
oh, yes.
Come in and say, why are there no rules? It always takes two to make something move forward.
So I missed that.
In my opinion.
Well,
Probably
yeah,
was.
the prior commissioner and myself were attending meetings on Zoom quite often for the last few months. I was trying to stay up to speed. I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was probably Commissioner Bradshaw.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Term just ended, so.
My apologies. I thought you
No
were-
problem. It's good to meet you, so.
Did you,
So 7 March to.
my hearing isn't always the best. You said you had prior forestry or Forest Service
First one is
experience?
7
I did
March
not.
to 6 April.
What was your background then?
I'm a landscape architect,
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
so,
April 6th.
no, just asking questions based on
And then we'll
personal
have the second
observation,
one,
community
May
comments and
21st.
concerns. And so, yeah, that's,
And that's
have done some
May 21st to
coordination
June 20th.
with prior rangers back when I was a member of the county's Natural Resource Committee.
Oh, that's what
So
it
we
was.
worked with you
Okay.
guys.
There's questions,
And
comments.
fuel load and those types of concerns, one of the things we tackled at the time, working with you guys on the county's natural resource
That's the
policy.
2 times in our
Yes,
process.
yes. Absolutely.
So access, fuel load, all of that
Yep,
was
yep. Where
addressed.
we can, and this is what we talked about last time, like, we've got
We'll
all
probably
these
invite
weird
everyone to the registration.
ownership boundaries, and jurisdictional boundaries, and they're all these straight lines and blocks and things like that. Beetles, bears,
Yeah,
and
they don't
fire.
care.
They don't care about any of that.
They don't
So,
care.
Right?
Yeah, that's, well, in part, I mean, I'm not an expert, but part of, I know, for example, a lot of pests, they're a lot less problematic when you have